What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to Abilene, Texas's own Emilio Rarebreed Sanchez. Emilio, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, brother?
Nothing much. Glad to have you on. Glad to kind of become aware of all things Texas fight scene, all things Abilene with you, my man. And again, we kind of talked off air, but I appreciate you again for jumping on the Nino Hatfield and Brooke Mayo
Oh yeah,
podcast.
for
And
sure.
when I was like, oh, fighter, I'm gonna hit him up. Let's see if he wants to do a podcast. And thankful enough, like you hit me back, and I just thank you, good sir, for allowing me the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Well, I thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. So, dude, how did you start training, start fighting? When did that inclination that, hey, this is what I want to do? When did that enter your psyche? Was there any?
So that I guess like well, I started. I was in Taekwondo whenever I was younger. I was in Taekwondo for 10 years. Um, when I got, I never really played any other sports. I didn't like football or anything like that. Until this day, I don't watch football or any other sport except mixed martial arts or boxing. Um, so I trained Taekwondo, and then I got into boxing a little bit. Never really had any boxing matches, but I did a couple of smokers and stuff like that. And one day, I had moved from Abilene to Odessa, Texas, and I was kind of got into weightlifting, and I was at a gym there in Odessa, and ended up meeting a guy by the name of Maurice Jackson. He's a pro MMA fighter.
Yes.
He's out in Oklahoma right now. I met him, and he's a pretty big dude. He's like 6'10", and at that time he needed somebody to hold pads for him, and he knew one of my good friends that was working there at the gym, and my friend came up to me and asked me, "Hey, this guy needs somebody to hold pads for him. You mind?" And I was like, "No, I don't mind." I didn't know who he was talking about at first, and I went in there and in the aerobics room and saw him, and I was like, "Damn, why did I agree to hold pads?" But I ended up holding pads for him and stuff like that, and we just got to talking and stuff, and I got to moving around with him a little bit and stuff like that, and he basically told me that he was a kickboxer before, and he was the West Texas state champ, there in Odessa and stuff like that, and he was going to make the transition to MMA, and pretty much he brought me along with him and everything, and I was one of his training partners. Took him to his first fight, cornered his first fight with him and stuff like that, and that was back in 2005, I believe. And once I felt the energy, I guess I was like, this is it. Like I want to start doing this, and didn't know jujitsu or wrestling or anything. Wrestling I knew was WWF wrestling or WWE,
Yeah.
and but I never knew anything about collegiate wrestling or jiu-jitsu or anything like that. There were no schools out in Odessa or Abilene at that time of jiu-jitsu. So, but there was a group of guys that that trained and fought there in Odessa and stuff that I was with Maurice. One of them is Brian Pierce. He's now jiu-jitsu world champion. He runs the Gracie Baja out in Austin.
Oh,
Yeah, so he's a really good friend of mine, and we just hooked up with them and stuff like that, and got into it, and took at the times that I fought, it was I guess the internet was around, but I didn't know about the internet
yeah.
and stuff like that, so we we go to these smokers and stuff like that out in New Mexico and fight. And I was thinking, you were gonna get paid, but yeah, I never got paid for for a fight. So I started doing that, and then I ended up getting married and started having kids.
Yeah.
So at that time, I had to get a full time job and stuff, and kind of had to put training on the back burner and stuff like that. And so I was trying to balance everything, and my kid, I had kids back to back to back. I have 8 kids total.
Wow, right on. He's a
Yeah,
rare
and
breed, you guys. I'm
right.
just saying.
So they and they're all pretty much a year or two apart and stuff. So when I moved back over here to Abilene, and I ended up meeting my boxing coach at the time was Gino Castaneda, and he introduced me to a guy named Jeremy Henderson that had just moved down here from I believe he was stationed in California, and he opened up a mixed martial arts school here in Abilene, and then he knew jiu-jitsu. He was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu under Marcus Hicks, and yeah. So I started training with him and stuff like that for a good while, and ended up moving. I was moving back and forth, man, from Abilene to Odessa and stuff like that, just because the jobs here at that time were not any good. And over there in Odessa, you got the oil fields over there, and they paid a whole lot more. So went back over there and hooked back up with Maurice and stuff like that. And then Maurice took off to Las Vegas. His career kind of like took off,
Yeah.
So he went to Las Vegas to go out there and stuff like that. And I was still training a little bit with Brian Pierce and stuff like that. And came back over here and started training again with the guys, with Jeremy and them. And I thought about taking some fights, but it's just my kids were little at the time, and I was just more focused on being a dad more than anything. I still wanted to be a fighter, but that was like in the back of my head. Like, I was kept on telling myself, you got enough time. You're not that old yet. You have enough time. And, eventually years passed, and I met my new coach, Colin Grayson, out at CTA, at the Kyle Terry Academy over in Irving, Texas. So I go out there and I train my jiu-jitsu out there at CTA. It's like about a 2.5-hour drive. So I make the drive like two times we'll say like four times a month. I'll make the drive out there and back, so I can get some training in there. And then one of my good friends from Odessa that was a fighter as well, that I used to train with, Randyhines. He actually moved down here to Abilene, and him and another good friend of mine, Josh, and his wife, they're gonna open up a gym here. I messaged you and told you that we were moving stuff and everything into a new gym and everything that we're gonna be opening up. So I'm gonna be training there. At the time I had my own business. I had my own academy. I was an affiliate of Rufus Sport. Ended up meeting Duke Rufus and Emilio Sanchez out at Bellator in Oklahoma 1 year, and got called. I hit them up and stuff, and I wanted to start my own gym here and my own academy, and I did that for about a year, and I had family issues come up with my grandmother, getting real sick with dementia and stuff like that. So hated to do it, man, but I had to end up closing shop so I could take care of her and stuff like that. And it's just a lot of stuff with anytime something pops up with my family, I always put my life on hold to, to help out my family and stuff like that. But now, everything's going good with my family, kind of health wise and stuff like that. So I decided, I know it was a tough decision, but I decided to try and make another run at fighting again, and just see where I can go. I'm gonna try and shoot for the stars, but I don't know. We'll just see where my body takes me.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing, But you also don't want to leave any stone unturned. And you mentioned, you kind of paraphrase one of my favorite sayings is "shoot for the moon, even if you fall short, you land among the stars." And
Right.
why the heck not? And Tyson Duckworth, who is the current reigning and defending Alaskan Fighting Championship featherweight champion, he's like, I'm trying to get a fight. Like like if you know anybody in Texas, I want to take it up because again, Alaska. I mean, they had up to 6 promotions running at one time, and then now
Wow.
it's just completely gone. Thankfully they can still train in some parts, but there's that.
Right.
So and then Raf Yard says that todo bien, and in terms of your lifting, is it Olympic lifting that you were
It
doing?
was my friend. He was a pro bodybuilder, and so
Oh,
I didn't know anything about lifting, so I was just following his lead and stuff like
yeah.
that. And I've always been real thick. So he was like, dude, you can become a bodybuilder. And I was like, I'll try it. But then, I met Maurice Jackson, and I fell in love with that again, with the aspect of training and fighting and all that. And I always get pulled back into that just because just my love for the sport. I mean, like I said, I don't like. It's not that I don't like any other sport. It doesn't attract me. There's nothing that attracts me to any other sport.
You got to go with what fits, But I mean, and Ralph is Portuguese, so you look happy, and that's the good thing. And
Yeah.
with eight kids, maybe you should be called the rare breeder. So there's 10 points for Ralph. No, but I mean, that's the thing. It's weird, right? Because like when you find the mats, right, or the mats find you, and the mat is synonymous with all combat sports, whether you do taekwondo, whether you do boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, catch wrestling, sambo, judo, whatever, we all have mats, right?
Yeah.
But once those mats find you, man, I mean, it's almost like a new life in many respects. And I know for me, and you were mentioning your first coach, having the blue belt and starting a school. Now, here in the 2020s, that sounds like a blue belt
Yeah.
running a school, and you're just like, what in the hell? That would never happen. But I mean, the first gym that I ever trained at was Matt Baker in Bakersfield, California, and he and his wife Jill are actually John Jock Machado black belts, both of
Oh,
them,
okay.
right? And he started the school literally as a blue belt,
Yeah.
and now he's a black belt, but 15, 20 years later. But I mean, that was like driving from, if you know the California kind of atmosphere, Bakersfield, from where John Jock Machado's HQ is in the
Yeah.
Valley region of LA. That's like a 2-hour drive, or with LA traffic, a 4-hour drive, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, but he started as a blue belt, so it's not that hard to believe, and that also shows, like, in terms of when you started, that is like, like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
time
long
period.
ago.
Yeah. Now, I
Yeah.
mean,
It's like telling some of the younger guys that train, and when they hear the stories like that, like, a blue belt running a school, and they're like, yeah, I've never heard of that. I've heard of purple belts running a school and stuff, starting an academy. And back then it was just different. And it makes me sound older when I say back then, but I mean it's the truth. Back then it was just different than what it is now.
No, 100%. And that also speaks to the amount of people and the amount of schools that were open and the amount of people that were training. Because I remember, so I grew up for the most part in Inglewood, California, right? And, by LAX and everything like that. And I remember there was only like one Gracie Baja, right? On like
Wow.
Hawthorne Boulevard, right? Now,
Yeah.
just in that like 3 mile stretch, there's like Systems MMA that has Christos Giagos and like UFC fighters. There's like Team Victory Muay Thai. There's Jiu Jitsu, Karate, Muay Thai, and world class training. Like you could walk in and you're
Right.
like, oh, that guy I've seen in Glory. Oh, that gal, she's in Invicta. Like whatever. But
Yeah.
again, like 15 years ago, there's just one, and that was it.
Yeah. And that's the way it is here in Abilene. Like there's there's one jujitsu academy here, and they're under Hobson Mora, and it's my old academy that I used to train at before I went to CTA and went off on my own to open up my own academy whenever I had it. But they're legit dudes there, and they're still they're pretty cool people and stuff to still go over there and cross train with. But now my friend Randy and Josh and his wife, they're opening up their mixed martial arts academy. We're gonna have one jiu-jitsu academy, and now we're having a mixed martial arts academy. And so the mixed martial arts thing is gonna be real. It's gonna be good. And we're hoping to bring in the people that want to come, because here in Abilene, it's like a wave with MMA. Like for 2 years, it's like real hot here as far as the MMA scene, and then it just like dies down to like what's MMA, like we're done with that and stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of real talented fighters that are from Abilene that have gone to like Dallas and stuff like that to go train at top gyms over there. And there's another top gym out in Lubbock called a Different Breed, ran by Danny Martinez, I believe. And they're a legit school and stuff. Actually, I think Jonathan Martinez came from over there, and and so there's a lot of cool. A lot of good academies out here in West Texas. Is just for some reason Abilene, and they call Abilene like a black hole. I don't know why. I mean, it's just because stuff doesn't last here, man. Abilene's trying to get built up into a actual city, but it's pretty much like a little. It's like a little town and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but we're trying to get built up and stuff like that, and hopefully with this new MMA academy that my friends are opening up, we can get the MMA scene going back and stuff here and get people training. If they don't want to fight, at least do it for their health and stuff. You know, and that's one of the main things is get people healthy and stuff and come together, man. Especially right now with everything going on, like people just need to come together and you know
1,000%. And again, obviously, it's November 3rd, kind of elections and all that, whatever. But again, it's just like there's a certain set of attributes that led people to a certain way and whatever, and that might not be yours, right? But that doesn't mean like,
right,
hey, we can't go grab beers if you did this thing and I did this thing. Like, let's just go, like,
for
and
sure.
let's spar, like that's you know and in
Yeah,
terms of studying schools, Rob says I remember studying school at Blue Belch. Now at Black, it has to start somewhere, sometime, 100%. And now
that's
there's
true.
69 Gracie Bajas, like
Wow.
100%. Like they're literally everywhere. It's like jiu-jitsu 7-Elevens. I mean, I think that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, right? Yeah. And
yeah,
and he says that Hobson is so good. Unfortunately, he reminds me of getting tapped by Jeff Glover,
yeah.
who is also Us. So yeah. You know, and he wants to know what do you think of Dave Kama?
Dave
Are you
Kama.
familiar with Dave?
No, I'm not familiar with Dave. I apologize for that.
Yeah, we'll put him in the Google machine, and he says that jujitsu transcends 100%, 100%. Now, obviously, in terms of, well, I want to know because you said that you were formerly a Rufus Sport affiliate, and we could see the banner
Yes.
right behind you. So, I'm interested to know because obviously we kind of, not to say we threw shade at Gracie Baja, but like in terms of affiliates, right? Because there's like
Yeah.
Gracie Baja affiliates. There's um, obviously 10 Planet Jiu Jitsu affiliates. There's Bang Muay Thai affiliates, and obviously the Rufus Sport affiliate system. So, what was the kind of things and requirements that you had to have to become an official Rufus Sport affiliate?
Um, Basically, you have to have, uh, of course, a background in martial arts. They do an extensive background check on your credentials, on everything that you say that you've done. Um, and then it's basically up to Duke and his partner, that have the final word. And I just thought when I did it, I'll throw my hat in there, see, the only thing they can tell me is no, or I'm not ready and stuff like that. And they I got the email back saying that I was welcome and stuff like that to be a Rufus Sport affiliate, and they welcomed me with open arms. Um, it was really, I guess you could say it was a goal of mine. It's something that I've always admired Duke and his brother Rick. Um,
Yeah,
I used to watch Rick. I used to stay up and watch ESPN, until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, watching the kickboxing matches that they had on ESPN real late, late at night and stuff. And I was watching that. My brother was watching football highlights and stuff like that. So you know, when I found out that he had an affiliate, when I wanted to open up my own academy, um, I found out he had an affiliate program. I hit him up and did the background check and everything that they did on me, and like I said, everything passed, and I was able to be an affiliate, and until I had to close down for my family reasons and stuff like that. When I told them I had to close down, they were more than supportive of me. You know, um, Welcome. They always tell me I'm always welcome back. I'm always gonna rock Rufus Sport. Until the day I die. Uh, because Duke and them, they're awesome people. Even his guys out there, the fighters, Emmanuel. He's about to fight in the Grand Prix for Bellator for the belt and
yeah,
stuff. And he's one of the coolest guys ever, man.
yeah.
I took my oldest daughter, I took her out to Milwaukee when I had to go out there and stuff, and went out there to go train with them. And it was an amazing time for my daughter to go. We both felt like little kids. She was a little kid, but I felt like a little kid being there and stuff like that. And also training with the other affiliates that were there from all around. I made brothers. You know what I mean? Like I don't call them friends. I call them brothers and stuff. And it was just an amazing thing. So
No, I think it's amazing, and again, it speaks to the camaraderie that there is in combat sports. And I too, much like you, I mean, to me, in terms of Muay Thai, American-born Muay Thai, it's the Rufus brothers and Joe Schilling. Like
yeah,
that is the A's and B's of American Muay Thai, and obviously, the sport kickboxing. You've got obviously Benny the Jet Urquidez and everything like that. But like in terms of Muay Thai, like those are the three. So
right.
I love it. I love it. Oh, and giving us a little bit of knowledge. Thank you, Ralph. He says Dave Kama Jiu Jitsu has a location in Texas, and he's a fourth degree black belt under Hickson BJJ. So there you go.
Huh. That's
So
cool.
yeah. And then also Ryan Young instructs there. He's very traditional. So
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, and cheers to that. Cheers to that. And all the love that you got from the Rufus family. But dude, I mean, obviously getting back into or fight shape after kind of a long sabbatical, like obviously, what is it that kind of makes you in this day and age want to start doing it again? Because obviously, it is there are easier pursuits, and even if it was a hobby, there are easier. Like I don't know, there was literally a guy named the Crochet King fighting in the UFC against Greg Hardy on
Yeah.
Saturday, right? So there's crocheting. There's a lot of different things, right? Other than punching and kicking and unceremoniously turning people into pretzels and you yourself getting turned into a
Right.
pretzel, right? So I mean, what is it that is drawing you back?
So it's with me. When I was in the middle of training real hard and stuff like that, I guess you can say I got into the party scene, and
Yeah.
I was a real bad drinker. Um, I would train, and then after I would go train, I would go straight to the bars and go drink. Um, so I kind of battled with alcoholism for a few years, and when I received custody of my kids, I got custody of four of my kids a few years back. It's probably been about 7 years ago. Um, I had to quit drinking. Like I told myself, if you receive custody, you need to quit. And I went from drinking a 30 pack a day to drinking zero within a couple of days. So and I couldn't train because at that time my kids were still little. So I could rarely go and exercise and stuff like that. So I with just stuff going on in my head, I guess I developed anxiety, like really really bad anxiety, and it got to the point to where and I had friends telling me, get back into training. If you get back into training, your anxiety will go away. It'll take it away because your mind is going like 100 miles a minute, and because you're worried about this, you're worried about that, you're worried about your kids, and so I started training again, and it would help with my anxiety a little bit, but not that much. Uh, until I had to go see the doctor. Finally, I was like, man, I need to go see the doctor for this. Um, I got on medication for it, and the medication helped a little bit, but I ended up going back to training more. Um, one of my friends at the time, he was a promoter here in Abilene, and he, I would help him on his promoting stuff, like going to go, help put up the cage, or when he'd hold jiu-jitsu tournaments, go help lay out the mats, or go and judge, or stuff like that. And I was like, man, just going to the fights, out in Dallas again and around here, I was like, I got that itch, and I was like, man, I want to start fighting again, or at least training, and and see, because I had put on a lot of weight, and so I started training again, and I ended up getting the fight, and that was back in 2016, I believe. So I had a fight in 2016, and it was here in my hometown, and I was more, I guess you can say, excited than having the jitters. I had the jitters a little bit, but I was more excited, and it didn't go my way. It didn't go the way I wanted to in that fight. Uh, but I I lost with a smile on my face. I just it just felt good being back in there. And the kid that I lost to, he's real good, nice kid, man. I used to train with his uncle, and so yeah, so it was kind of weird, but it is what it is. It's it's business, nothing personal and stuff like that. And he's a real good kid, sweet kid, man. And after I had that fight, my kids were kind of worried. They didn't want me fighting again, and I didn't make a promise, but I was like, I'm just gonna train, and then I ended up getting in the coaching spot to where I was like, if I'm not gonna fight anymore, then I might as well try and coach and stuff like that. So that's when I became part of Rufus Sport and did the coaching thing for a little bit, but it I love the coaching, but I love the training more than the coaching and stuff. And I guess they say some fighters are better coaches than fighters, and vice versa. But it's just I just love the training aspect of it and stuff like that. So when I had to close down my gym and take care of my family for a little bit, my grandmother and my mom, um, my mom she got diagnosed with cancer, with lung cancer last year, and this is her fifth time to have cancer, and she's beaten cancer 4 times in 4 different spots. And this is another fight that she has that we're me and her are fighting together. So I take care of my mom, but she's doing a whole lot better than what she was last year when she first got diagnosed with it. And so I was like, I got the time. I might as well get back into training again and just see how my body feels, after training, extensively and all that, and making the drive out to Irving to go train jujitsu over there, and then driving back. I just want to see how my body feels, and if it feels good, then I'm gonna make a run back at fighting again. And yeah, I think even if my body doesn't feel good, I'm gonna tell myself my body feels good, just so I can make a run at it again. I'm always gonna want to fight. Uh, you know, and some people say, just why don't you just spar? Sparring it's not the same as being in there, in front of a lot of people. And there's just it's a different feeling and stuff, and I love that feeling.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And Ralph, basically spreading some goodwill to you. It says good for you. You've got your head on straight, and problems happen when, we learn our social skills by drinking. Once the drinking is removed, our skills and overconfidence come from alcohol. Leaves us lost. Alcohol
Yeah,
has anglistic effects, just like the benzos, because
yeah, 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 for sure.
100%. Yeah, and he says that his psychologist friend tells him that the mastery of skill is one of the best things that you can do for anxiety. And in many things, just like you with your grandma, your mom, and your kids, that you rise again once you find a mastery of such and fight with good on your side. You will always succeed. And thank you,
I
Ross.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's tremendous. So, I mean, in terms of, because you mentioned Abilene to Odessa, and other places. So, in terms of like getting the training that you need, I mean, in terms of like hours or even miles, like how far in between are you from the places that you would train?
Um. So from it's 2 hours east to west. So Abilene is like right in the middle, and Dallas is the Metroplex area. That's like it's like 2.5 hours away going east. Odessa is 2.5 hours going west. So, and I have family in both places. So if I ever need to stay the night somewhere, I can always stay the night somewhere. Um, I've come accustomed to basically going to Irving and Garland, going to train over there and stuff like that. I met a Muay Thai instructor out in Garland, I believe. They own a business called Rojas Muay Thai, and they're authentic Muay Thai. And a couple years ago, I was making the trip to Irving and then going from Irving to the Muay Thai and then driving back in a day. And like it took a toll on me. And my girlfriend at the time and stuff like that. And but it's fun. I mean, I also liked it because it was good meeting new people. And just a way to interact with people. Even if I wasn't training to fight, like I said, I'm training for health and meeting people and just coming together.
But that's exactly it. And when most people that aren't in kind of the combat sports community, right? You're like, oh man, 2 hours each way. That seems crazy, right? But it's finding something in life that makes that trip all the more worthwhile, right? Like,
Right.
finding something that you would travel. Most people like, I would travel to the ends of the earth for you, right? That's when a cheesy pickup line and what have you,
Right.
right? But I mean, but the thing about it is, it's true. Once you find that thing, and like I was saying with like my first coach Matt, who would go from 2 hours, or with traffic 3+ hours to LA and then back and whatever. But it's finding the thing that sets your heart on fire, right?
Right.
And once you do it, you're willing to fight, literally and figuratively, to make sure not only it happens, but the fact that you're spending that much time away from your family, away from jobs and all that stuff like that. You want to make sure that the best example of all of the sum of the things, all of the hours driven, the miles away, the sleepless nights, all of that stuff, you want to make sure that when you get there, it's all worth it. So you're gonna
Right.
you're gonna grind like nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah, man,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and Ralph is saying it's not unheard of. Fighters will do it religiously. And again, like you said, there's something that's different, right? It's something that's different about fighters. There's something that's just uniquely. And I often think, when I see my friends, whether it be amateur, pro, Muay Thai, in the UFC, in Bellator, and part of like even my patron of the sport, like I've been punched in the face. Literally, like my first day at Fight Academy in Pasadena, I had done the gi jiu-jitsu in Bakersfield, came down to Pasadena, California, and I mean, literal legends like Savant Young, who was on like IFL and has traveled to
Right.
Japan and all that stuff, and Herb Dean is there, and right, and
Yeah.
you're the urban legend Chris Cully. And the thing about it is, like, I got paired up with, right, James the Beast Wilson. And if you don't know that name, put it in the YouTube machine. And he has highlight reel knockouts that
Yeah.
are like 4 minutes long. Like just him, just boom, boom, just out of like knocking people out of the ropes, all
Yeah.
this
Knocking
stuff.
heads off.
Right. And that's who I get to not spar with, but like we're holding pads, right? I had
Yeah.
and I'd never taken any striking at all. I kind of when I grew up in Inglewood, even though I sound like this, right? My move was like Mick Foley, whatever Mick Foley did on Monday Night Raw. Before I was gonna pull your shirt over your head, kind of DDT you. I had no like fight acumen or whatever, right? So
Right.
go there, and then again, like everybody else, they partner up, and it's me and James Wilson, and I'm kind of like try to trance off the map to see like, oh, like I need water or something like that,
Yeah.
but I just happen to kind of like look right, and he locks eyes even at the corner of my eye, and he motions me to come over, and I'm like, oh fuck the shit, oh fuck a shit, oh fuck a
Yeah.
shit, right? So and you know, and I'm naturally like not coordinated. I'm half American descended of slaves and half Fijian. You would think between the Micronesian and the African that I would get some sort of rhythm. Didn't happen. I even lose my footing in a mosh pit. It sucks,
Right.
right? So the drill that we're doing is like hooks, jab cross hooks, and then we're also walking,
Right.
right? and then going backwards. And I'm like, I'm trying to get in or whatever. And then once I start to connect with the pads, James was like, hit me harder. I was like, no. Like, I literally was just like, no. Because I knew there was going to have to be a receipt. And like,
Yeah.
like, and like, and then I go, pink. And he's like, hit me harder. And I'm like, now I'm starting to anger him. I'm just like, oh, damn. And again, like when you see him now and he's training like all of his kids that are funny enough boys,
Yeah.
he literally has them like to tires and then sets them free and then go and crazy combos and everything like that. But I know now like what he expects, right? And
Right.
and thankfully, when it came around to switch up, he hits me at like 5%. But 5% for James Beast Wilson, I still flew 10 feet across the floor. Like
Yeah.
no joke.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same way doing that with Maurice Jackson. Like I said, when I would hold pads for him, and I would hold pads for a kick and turn my head and pray that he didn't break my arms. But yeah, I definitely know that feeling, man. Sparring with somebody, even if they go, 10% or 5%, if they're that much of a beast, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, sparring with Duke, like his kicks, oh my god, like it's like getting hit with a baseball bat. That's something, and he's just playing around with you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, oh my god, like you don't want to get kicked by that. You don't want to be on the receiving end.
No, and Rafa even says like, let's not even talk about the first time we broke our noses. Like it's
Yeah,
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 and it's funny too. And he also says that it's important to see what those eyes look like when they will strike. Yeah, no, it's like looking into death's door, like right there.
right.
But it's funny that you mentioned about Duke, and I can only imagine him just playing around, and it feels like a bat hitting you, right? But I remember when like George St. Pierre was a coach on the Ultimate Fighter, and he brought the French, like savant
Yeah.
guy, Muay Thai guy, and whatever. Dude was like drunk, slept,
Hmm.
2 hours, whatever. And I mean, even the guys on there were like, yeah, he looks like a fucking homeless person, right?
Yeah.
And then and then it gets to spar, and he's not even, and how loose he is and whatever. He just like does like he's on like regular like drunk man stance and whatever, and then he
Yeah.
charges up and just bang, and you just see dude just like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like those, man, those kicks are the worst, especially by people that know how to throw them and stuff like that. That they're veterans of the sport, and but those are the ones that, even if you do take the beating, it's good to take that beating and learn from it. You know, so like when I had gone out there to Milwaukee, like that was one thing I mentally told myself, like, you're gonna be hurting. Like, it was 3 days of training. I was like, you're gonna be hurting on the plane ride back home. Good thing I don't have to drive. I'm flying back. So, I was like, but you're gonna be hurting. And sure enough, I was hurting and everything. But I mean, it was an experience like no other. And I always tell myself, if I could move to Milwaukee, I would move to Milwaukee, and and get a place right by Rufus Sport. That way I can go out there and train. But I'll be making trips out there here pretty soon. So it's gonna be a fun time.
I think it would absolutely be. Now, I mean, it's funny because you were talking about Odessa and obviously West Texas, right? And for me, West Texas, right? I don't know. I think it's called like Texas A&M, but like
Uh-huh.
West Texas University. That. I mean, when you talk like pro wrestling, we're talking about like, oh, I think Bill Watts, Dusty Rhodes, Tully Blanchard, uh, Tito Santana, Tito Santana, like that, $1 million man, like Ted DiBiase, they all played for West. I mean, the Funk Brothers, my goodness, Terry and
Yeah.
Dory, all played
Yeah.
football or wrestled for West Texas State back in the day. So
Yeah.
in terms of like setting up a gym there in Abilene. Obviously, those guys, and especially like that Amarillo territory, in terms of pro wrestling, right? That
Hmm.
did something for the community where you could literally be on the loop as a professional wrestler and just go to Abilene, go to Odessa, go back to Amarillo, and that would be your livelihood. You made in the 60s and 70s, like $300 a week. That's
Right.
would be like thousands of dollars today, right? So in terms of establishing a community, right? And you talked about your friend starting their gym there in Abilene. How important do you think it is for you and your friends to establish a community? Because obviously you were out in Milwaukee with Rufus Sport. You've been to bigger shows and you know
Hmm.
even sparred at different gyms, and being able to feel that camaraderie. How
Right.
much do you think it would impact the city of Abilene once a real fight community starts to get established?
It's gonna. I think it's gonna impact a lot. I mean, there was an MMA gym here a few years back, and that's when Abilene was booming with MMA. Was when that fight team was here. They had it was a group of guys they were a great group of guys, and some of those guys are the ones that are going to be hopefully going over here to my friend's MMA gym because everybody knows everybody here. So and everybody trains with everybody here. So it's gonna be and my friend him and his wife, they were part of the jujitsu community. They're purple belts under Hobson as well and stuff. But now they're opening up their own academy, so they know that jujitsu community, standard, and they're all about family. So they're gonna build that community uh, up as much as possible. We're all gonna try and build that community up as much as possible. We're trying to get the word out, on Facebook and stuff like that, and to get that, just to get that word out. Hey, there's now a new, MMA academy that's going to be here in the big country. That's what we call Abilene, the big country. There's going to be a new MMA academy here. So, for those of y'all that want to come out, that want to get in the fight game, think you have, what it takes. Don't be, there was a lot of people when the first gym opened up here years ago that my other friend had opened up. Um, we had guys that would come in, and when they would start, they were telling us like, we sat out in our cars for like a week or two before even stepping foot in the gym because we were so nervous and afraid. We didn't know what to expect, and now it's kind of good that I guess the way the UFC has done with like the Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that, and just some of the big MMA stars, with Instagram, Facebook, their fans are able to see how they are, in real life, and just not that they're that beast or that killer when they step in the cage. They're actually family. They're family grown people. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of misconception about MMA fighters, especially here in Abilene. If somebody knows that you're an MMA fighter, then they obviously think that you're a douchebag or something like that. And then all it takes is that one guy that is a douchebag to bring it down for everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, so we try and make it seem show everybody that we're not all like that. We're some of us are family men, women, and we care about family and we care about our health, and our whole mission in life is to better ourselves each day at a time.
No, 1,000%. And in terms of building a community. Ralph says it can take friggin' years, decades sometimes, but
Yep.
obviously you guys are in for the long haul for sure, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Randy Hines. He's a retired fighter. Based like I said, he came from Odessa. That dude has a tons of experience underneath his belt and stuff like that. Uh, I've even talked to him about trying to get him to fight again, and he's like, "Nah, bro, I'm done. Like I'm gonna focus on coaching and stuff like that." And I still tell him, you still got it in you, but he doesn't want to make a run at it, which I respect that. Like I said, he's a good guy. He's a he's a damn good father and stuff like that, and husband, and he's all around good friend, good person. He's good people, and that's somebody that I would I always have that respect for him, that he has so much. Um, he's a veteran of the sport so much that I will always learn something from him, and I'm just excited for this gym to open up. That way we can get going and stuff like that, and bring MMA back to Abilene.
No, man, that's incredible. That's incredible. I love it. Now, I mean, Ralph has a pretty good theory in terms of how to achieve it. He said, just produce 5 black belts, 2 stay at your club, and that's it. That's it. I like that.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. I want to apply that to like everything, like financial planning, child support, as they say in Brazil. As
yeah,
Renato Lalande says, child support. You know, and apply that because that just seems like a winning formula. So
right.
in terms of because you were able to travel and still are able to travel 2 hours each way to and from, so I know you got some downtime to listen to things and what have you. So like what helps to get through the day? Is it music? Are you watching or listening to podcasts on your way back in between your trips? Like what's the haps?
Um, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to music. I listen to music just to get me through the day sometimes. Like I said, I've gotten control of my anxiety, but my mind is still goes 100 miles a minute a day. Like even when I'm doing something, my mind is still going like 100 miles a minute. And so I'm always, I listen to music. I I started writing to help. So I do a lot of writing. Like I said, I listen to podcasts. I I got turned on to you onto your podcast. So and you're putting out. I've been watching your podcast pretty much every day. Even before we set up this one, I started watching your podcast and listening to it and stuff like that. So it helps get through the day.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, that means a lot, and that's all you want to do is like, again, it's being able to have affection for people in the sport and have other people come on and like how much they appreciate these particular people, and it's fun, right? That everybody from like Josh Barnett and Frank Trigg and then you guys and then Brooke Mayo and like just bringing each other together, right? Is
Right.
figuring out us, as a community. And some of the times like you might know the name but you might not know the story behind it, so like let's get
Yeah.
into the story a little bit and whatever. And I like to think that for every subscription that I ask people to do, and I'll probably do it at the end of this show, so again, if you haven't already done it, like, share, subscribe, but that'll come more later. But obviously, to earn every bit of it, right? And to earn you guys and gals that compete in the sport of combat sport, whatever your sport may be, to earn your trust that you feel comfortable sharing those stories. Because like I always like to think about life, right? In terms of, let's say you're at a library, right? And the library or Barnes and Noble or Amazon books, whatever, right? It's full of, you go to the biography section and you see literally hundreds of thousands of biographies, right? And each
Mm-hmm.
biography is somebody's life, right?
Yeah.
What is going to be interesting? Is it the color? Is it the case? Is it the actual story? Is it who you are that is going to make people want to be inspired by your story? That pick you out of the rack, and dust off the cobweb, so to speak, to see you do what you do and to read about your exploits, and that right there, that's what we all should learn in life. So hopefully
Right.
this right here is a podcast version of that library or that Barnes and Noble.
That's true. And like I said, I'm doing a whole bunch of writing. Like my one of my real good friends, she had told me, that she's been through there with me through a lot of the stuff that I've gone through. And, she told me, she was like, man, you need to write a book. Like just a journal, like write a journal about, about the stuff that you've been through and everything. Like you've been through a lot of stuff that people don't really go through that much stuff in their whole life. And, I would just keep on putting it off. And then finally one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I started doing that, and it helps because it gets stuff out of my head and, out of my head and onto a piece of paper, and I reflect on it and, see, well, because of that, that's the person that, because of that, that's the person that I am today. And, and I like to think that I'm 100 times better than what I was 10 years ago and stuff, so, but yeah, like for sure, man.
That's great. I can't wait to read it. When that comes out, I will be the first person to go ahead and sign up and put the as what is it? Uh, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob says, put that money in my hand and the show the jungle love. Just say again. See, I've got no rhythm. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, and then Rafa is also saying, run a kids program. Put your highest level guy on on teaching the fundamentals, and that essentially that is a amazing tip. That's tremendous,
Yeah.
Rafa. Yeah, you put your highest level person, and I mean, again, those are. I often think about stories like that, like Jacob Rosales, LFA veteran, Bellator MMA veteran, and he essentially trained under, Ben Jones and Josh Barnett and Eric Paulson, literally right from like he was a preteen. I think he was like 10 and whatever.
Yeah.
And then look at him now, and it's just like, yeah, because all of those top level guys, you get again, a Ben Jones, and Eric Paulson, a Josh
Right.
Barnett are all kind of, and then that's not even including the teammates that kind of sprinkle in, every
Yeah.
so
A little
often.
bit. Yep.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, that's the reason why his last fight he was contending for an LFA world title. Like, of course.
Yeah.
And Ralph also says, try a guitar as a challenge. It's like fighting when you can't think about anything. It's not right. It's not right in front of you. Yeah, so it's a certain mastery of skills that
Yeah.
is it. And he also says that if his
No,
book, he wants gold and gothic fonts. I like that. I like that. That needs to be a T-shirt, actually. So
right.
we're gonna be hitting each other up soon. But dude, I mean, again, thank you for this time. Now, I definitely want to get you to acknowledge some people that have helped you along the way, not just in fight, but in life, that have helped Emilio Rarebreed Sanchez get to where he is.
For sure. Maurice Jackson, of course. Brian Pierce. Randyhines. Um, I had another friend named Randy Alvarez. My jiu-jitsu coach out at CTA, Colin Grayson. Colin's helped me a lot, going through stuff that I was going through and stuff like that. I would message him and he would tell me like, dude, get your head in the game. Like, you need to get serious. You're, come on, you need to jumpstart it. So, him, Duke Rufus, and everybody there at Rufus Sport for sure. Uh, Malik, he's a fighter. He's from here, but he trains out, and he lives out in Dallas now, and he trains actually with Mark De La Rosa and stuff. And he's Malik's an up and comer. He just turned pro. I think he's about to have a second pro fight, but that dude is a beast. But when I had my academy, when I was opened up at Rufus Sport, he would come down and come and help me, help me coach and stuff like that, and move around with the guys, and we would have some talks and stuff like that. So Malik, there's a ton of people. I want to wish best too to Brooke and Nino. Y'all people out there in California, what did Nino say? North Cal. That's where he's located.
Yeah, he's in NorCal for sure.
Yeah. So y'all hit up Nino and stuff for Muay Thai, and y'all girls out there that want to bring it, y'all hit up Brooke to see y'all can get a fight with her. She's gonna bring it. I'm excited for Brooke. I'm waiting to see what she can bring to the table, and I know she's gonna bring a lot of stuff to the table, man. So
yeah, I can't wait for that fight, December 12th. And Sarah Klitschko, man, that's woo.
Yeah,
that could headline in Big card anywhere.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I like that fight. I'm gonna be streaming that fight for sure and watching it, because Brooke just brings it. Like there's no other thing to put about it. She just brings it, and then you can tell she's part of Nick Diaz's academy.
Yeah, no, 100%, my man. No, and Raph also says that Eric Paulson is gnarly. Absolutely. I mean, he can mess you up with everything from catch wrestling to kickboxing to even like Filipino collie sticks. He will fuck you up just in every way imaginable. Yeah. He's just so talented, that guy. And he says, "Don't forget me when you're gone." We will never forget you, Roth, because
I won't forget you, Roth.
No, you are all bits of awesome, my man. So I just appreciate you chiming in, and everybody watching. And Amelia, dude, thank you for coming on and help me learn and appreciate your story. And for those who haven't heard or know the story of Emilio Sanchez and want to reach out to you on social media, where can they do that, my man?
Facebook, my Facebook. I just started my Facebook back up again. I had deleted it because of everything that was going on. I just got tired of seeing everything. So I went into a little cocoon and was like, I'm done with social media. But I just opened it back up. So it's Emilio Sanchez, my Facebook. And then my Instagram is Emilio Rarebreed, I believe. And I have a Twitter, but I'm never on it. Like, Twitter is just, I don't know. It's not for me.
I post memes. That's what I do. I post memes on Twitter. Like, that's the best
thing. That's all I do. I go on there and I look at everybody's memes on Twitter. Yeah. Like, I don't ever post nothing.
Yeah, it's the best. And then I recently found that there's this thing, the Reface app, which I encourage everybody to do, especially today, where you can put your face on literally any GIF ever.
Dude, you're Reface. Yeah, you get me through the day. I'm not even gonna lie with those Reface apps, man.
I appreciate it, and that's the thing.
I can open up my Facebook in the morning and I see like 10 Reface apps, and I'm like, oh my god, like it just yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. Like, if you're gonna follow a Corner to the Woods, you're gonna get world-class podcasting with amazing guests such as Emilio, or fucking memes that'll laugh your ass off. Right? None of it is gonna be offensive. We love everyone. Don't even whatever. And I do it, and you caught onto it. You sly gig dog. You caught onto it. I will drop them in the middle of the night. So literally the fucking first thing you see is some dumb shit.
Yeah.
And you might feel depressed. You might feel like you're not enough and whatever. Well, we're going to break you out of that with laughter
Yeah,
by God. Like that's what we're gonna do, and that's it. Because we're a community, regardless of who's president, prime minister, whoever the fuck. We're a community of people that just should be caring about people. So let's fucking
that's
do
for
that
sure.
more. 100%, dude. Which I gotta, a huge shout out to you for again jumping on the show with me, allowing me to share space with you, and oh fuck, I can't wait to do this again.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you. And again, we appreciate everyone for chiming in on here. And if you haven't already done so, we warmly encourage you to subscribe to According to Woods, right? Emilio, right?
Yes, sir. Y'all go like, and share.
Absolutely. But don't take our word for it because, I mean, I don't know. Here's a former NXT notable Zeta Zang to kind of convince you